Hello everybody and welcome to my first video in the Tesla series. So I am doing this series as part of an evergreen type of video where I want to go in depth into each of the points that I make for my more general Tesla videos and my more bullish arguments that I make in my Tesla videos. I think it's important for me to dig into those points, to dig in depth into those points, and I can use then these videos, these evergreen videos that I make as a reference, right? So this is going to be a reference for whenever I say that actually having to charge your car at home is actually a big plus. And so this argument applies to all electric cars. So I may refer to this video, even if I ever cover a stock that is not a Tesla, I may refer to this video. I argue in my Tesla videos that not having to go to a gas station is actually a plus. So why is not having to go to a gas station actually a good thing? Well, first of all, it's important to point out that the traditional gas car folks, the ICE, internal combustion engine folks, the bears in general on electric technology say, well, it's a bad thing that you have to charge your car. Charging your car is a downside. And they say, for example, you have to update your home's electric. Well, first of all, that's not entirely true anymore. Most electric cars, especially Teslas, have chargers, and you can charge your car with a 120-volt outlet that you would find in any garage. It's obviously better to have a 240-volt outlet, which is like your typical driver outlet. But in general, if you drive your car home after a work day, after picking up the kids from school or something, and just charge your car in the morning when it's 8 a.m., your car is going to be fully charged in general, and that doesn't require any update to your home's electric. So that's point number one. Teslas are phones on wheels, right? So we are used to charging our phones every night. People that have electric cars get used to charging their cars every night, just plugging them with this very fancy Tesla plug. Just plug it in every night, just like you would plug in your phone. And it's important also to note that if you're in a hurry or if you forgot to charge for some reason, most superchargers today allow you to get 200 miles in under 15 minutes. So 200 miles in 15 minutes, you can stay cozily in your car while your car charges, and it's only 15 minutes, right? So also let's keep that in mind that yes, sure, charging at a supercharger takes longer if you want a full charge, but if you just want a charge to get by for the day, it's only 15 minutes. And charging technology as a whole, I just want to say this before I talk about gas station, is it improves exponentially. The cost curves of charging, the cost of batteries, the cost curves really are exponential, and so the improvement will not be linear. If we talk 2 years, 5 years from now, it will be so much better and so much faster. Charging of electric cars does not follow a linear improvement. So the shortcomings will get smaller over time. But granted, I wanted to outline some of what people say against electric cars is that you have to charge them. It's the downside. I agree. Having to charge your car is a downside. But let's see the alternative. So what is the alternative? The alternative is having to go to a gas station, right? And that's what most of us are used to, and most of us don't even question. Like, we don't even question whether gas stations are dangerous, or we don't even question the issues of gas stations because we're used to them. We're so used to them. And of course, my statement about gas stations here, they do not apply to most gas stations, right? It's about risk. Risk is about the sides of the bell curve, right? Risk is not about the common or typical experience. Risks are always about the extreme side of your bell curve. So most gas stations are fine, and most owners of gas stations, small business owners, are hardworking, wonderful people. This is about the edge cases, right? This is about what happens with the edge cases of gas stations, which is what we're interested in here, because we're talking about risk here. So first of all, the risk number one, which I think is a risk everybody can agree on, is safety. Gas stations can be oftentimes unsafe, right? And so this is just a random article. If you do any research on gas stations, you see that they're very prone to gun violence. They're magnets for crime, as some news reporters say. But it's just not the news reporter. I invite you to look at this other one. By the way, this is an international sentiment. This is a Canadian article, but I found articles in Europe. I found articles in Australia. This is another one. Why some women fear the self-serve gas station. And it's actually a very interesting article. If you read some of these articles, like look at some of the testimony of half of the drivers, right? I mean, doesn't represent all women, of course, and people in general, but this is just an anecdotal example about a man and his wife. And the wife says the truth is that I've had too many bad experiences pumping gas. It makes me anxious. Gas pumps are weird because even though they're public, you're somewhat alone and vulnerable. Nearly every time she stops for gas by herself, she is approached by a man. Sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's creepy, sometimes it's just awkward and uncomfortable. And I've seen that myself, pumping for gas. I've seen some people treat the gas station like a bar or something. Like that's just wrong, and that's going to be a big upside for a lot of people who just don't want to go to the gas station to have someone ask their numbers. Like it's going to be a big upside to have to charge at home from the safety of your closed garage. Big upside for everyone, not just women. I think once people start realizing that their safety concern going to the gas station, this is going to be a big push for people adopting Teslas on one hand and electric cars in general. I want to back this by data from the FBI. So actually, and you can go see my source right here, cspdailynews.com. This is data from 2020. Convenience stores are the fourth most common location for violent crime, and gas station take the seventh place in FBI crime stats as the most violent place, the most common place for violent crimes. And of course, convenience stores and gas stations are most often, one and the same, right? I mean, if you go to, I don't know, Kmart, 7-Eleven, it's both a convenience store and a gas station. So these statistics, I could make a fair argument, could be merged. And this was very interesting. And by the way, the FBI only looks at like really, really bad crimes, like really violent crimes. They don't look at, anyways, they look at bad crimes. If you call the FBI, something's going on. And so in the full year 2020, look at this. The FBI investigated 20,100 violent crimes at convenience stores and 11,795 violent crimes at gas stations. And so you're well over 30,000 crimes. And perhaps more interesting to me in this is looking at the ratios. And for example, ATMs, which if you ask me before looking at the data, I'm like, ATM, you're going to go get for cash? ATMs are dangerous, right? Like, intuitively, you're like, okay, well, if I go to the ATM, I'm going to be careful. The FBI only investigated 221 crimes at ATMs versus 30,000 at convenience store and gas stations. I think on relative terms, this data tells you that if you look at the edge, there's risk. There's risks to safety going to a gas station. And again, this does not apply to all gas stations, but edge cases, it applies. And so I think this is going to be a big selling point for electric cars, that you don't have to go to the gas station. And when you think about it critically from a first principles perspective, and you take a second glance, and me, I'm someone who's never been scared about gas station. But when you look at it critically, it actually becomes obvious why gas stations may be unsafe. Armed robbery of automobiles risk, right? I mean, you are away from the driver's seat on the other side of the car, right? Pumping gas, and you're away. So again, this is ripe for a criminal. This is a car that's ripe for the taking for a criminal. You have to step away from the driver's seat to pump gas. Sometimes at night, right? Or if you're in a road trip, you have to do it at night. Like, it's easy to spot a 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 100,000 car for any criminal. So I think I could make a case, as to why this makes sense if you critically think about it, especially if you are pumping alone, sometimes at night, putting gas in your car at night, or even in the winter, right? In the winter, 6 p.m., right? It's night, it's the night, so it's like that. That seems obvious when you take a second look. right? And here's another critical point that I want to make as to why it's obvious. Most gas stations have convenience stores, right? And they sell late night alcohol, which is like, because the stores close at 9 p.m. most places, and if you want late night alcohol, people go to the gas station, which is the other place where you get gas. And in certain states, they start selling marijuana in certain states, right? I'm in Texas, so none of that in Texas, but in certain states they do, and in other states, gambling. And I'm a very pro-freedom person, and all of these items are legal, and this is not an issue with freedom. Anybody can buy whatever they want. I really believe that. The problem, however, is that these items, whether it's gambling, lottery, euphoria associated with that, whether it's alcohol or marijuana, they alter cognitive function and they alter social behavior. I believe I can make a very strong case that this is a bad mix. It's a bad mix to me to have, say, your typical family guy or family mom, at 7 p.m. Sorry, 7 p.m. like 11 p.m. go to a gas station. These things don't mix. It's obvious on a second level as to why there's so many crimes, because this is not really a good idea to mix that. And I really think charging at home, when you consider this, is safer. It is safer. So this is the biggest point. Physical safety, safety from arm, I think, is one of the biggest selling points as to why you want to charge your car just like you charge your phone. And again, this does not apply to most gas stations. Most gas stations are safe, and most gas station owners are great people. I really want to emphasize that. Okay, so now moving on to another risk to safety, which is lesser, in my opinion, because gas have gotten better. But you still have that. You still have issues with gas spills, right? The issue with static, right? Static electricity can ignite gas. Gas is a very, very explosive substance. Don't ever throw it on a fire pit. That's a bad idea. You'll see, right? You have issues with leaks, all sorts of leaks, and over gas car hazards. You also have people filling up. Gas for lawn equipment and all of that stuff. And so that's a risk, right? So much so that there's rules. Don't have the engine running, right? Get out of the car. It's like a whole bunch of rules as to how you need to operate the gas pump. So there is some risk associated to that. Not as much of a big deal as crime. Crime is the biggest one. But the second one is gas spills. Occasionally you still get issues of fires, and I'm not talking about self-driving cars and electric cars. Electric cars have issues too. I just want to focus on gas stations and just point out that there's issues of fires, of cars getting on fire at gas station. This is a statement that stands on its own. There's no need to tell me in the comments, oh, electric cars do the same thing. No need to tell me that. Anyways, let me move on to some of the lighter issues, and that's issues like related to consumers, to your average consumer. So they're kind of lighter because maybe it's a little funny to think about that sometimes, but these issues matter. These issues matters in the customer-centric era of Amazon. They really do. In the era where people expect top-of-the-line service, where people expect, no issues, like we've been accustomed to in the 21st century, these things really, I think, from a consumer standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, are not acceptable anymore. But I call them inconveniences, not risks. So what is the third issue of gas station, which is an inconvenience and not a risk, is what I'll call unsanitary conditions and hedonic perspective. And actually, spent Thanksgiving with close people, and I kind of like did a personal group of a whole bunch of different people, family moms, younger folks, and I kind of asked them, so tell me, I need to make this gas station video. Tell me what are some of the issues with gas stations, and they all piled on and told me what they thought was their issues. And really, I think it's anecdotal, but it's representative. I think it's fairly representative of the average person, the average car driver. And this is what I had. They're gross. Gas stations are gross. This is what they told me, right? This little focus group. It smells bad. your hands will smell, right? You have to touch dirty, worn out buttons and handles. There's unsavory stickers. Yeah, did you know that? Like at gas station, you often see like stickers of things that are very unsavory. Another one. What is cheddar news? Like apparently, not apparently, I've seen it too, but they blast like cheddar news really loud when you're pumping gas, and so that probably adds to some safety, and you're like captive, and so it's an opportunity for them to play ads. So what's going on, right? Again, this is more funny stuff. That's why I call them hedonic perspective, right? A perspective that relates to the lack of joy of going to the gas station. But I think we can all relate or know people who would have these statements, right? They're gross. I don't want to pump gas, etc. We can all relate to that just because we're used to it. If we've been driving gas cars for a long time, probably don't pay attention anymore. But again, customer centricity today makes it so that these customer responses should not be a thing. They should not happen, right? It should be a great experience, just like charging your phone. And it's not. Gas cars are not like that. So I think that's one of the big reasons why actually bears have it wrong here. Charging is a plus. Charging is an advantage. Going to a gas station is a disadvantage. Going into a gas station is a problem, not the opposite around, right? Inconvenience number 4, long wait times. And this is also from my focus group, right? Depending on where you live, you may have to wait a while here, right? Especially if you have a big family, right? If you have a big family, you drive around all day, you may have to go to the gas station every other day. It breaks the flow of your day. Many pumps are broken. How many pumps do you not have a receipt? And then you have to go in to get your receipt because maybe you're on a work trip and your work is like wanting the receipts to reimburse you. How many pumps don't print receipts? A lot, right? Most people park at the pump, which really, really is one of the reasons why there's delay at gas stations. Sometimes you have to wait for a while because most people they'll just park at the pump, even though they don't pump gas, they'll just park there. So again, this adds to the long wait times, and this is obviously an issue that gas stations have, that charging doesn't have, because you just charge at home. Once you get home, you have a reserved parking spot in your garage, and you just plug it in and forget about it. Don't have to go to the gas station. All right, inconvenience number 5, right? Because gas stations are hazardous, you're pumping gas, explosive liquid. So you have to stand outside, and of course in the cold or in the heat. So spring and fall, it's okay. But if you're in the Texas heat, it's 120 degrees outside. You don't want to stand at 120 degrees. It's an inconvenience, right? It's not customer centric. It's an inconvenience. You have to stand in the heat. And if you live, I don't know, in Minnesota, you have to stand in the cold. So again, we live in the 21st century. Customers have very high expectations, and electric cars can meet these expectations. All right, inconvenience number 6, and which is more hedonic, disparate pricing. And I quote a close person here. You feel like a doofus because the gas station 1 mile away could have saved you $10. And she may have been exaggerating here, but no, it's a thing. It's like, yeah, if you get gas, it's like, all right, I'm gonna get gas here, and you drive 2 miles away, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's cheaper right here. So it doesn't create a good experience. This is not the customer-centric experience that the internet and the world of perfect information would give you, because, and of course, you can use Gas Buddy and all these apps, but oftentimes, life gets hectic, and people don't think about that. This is an issue you don't have when you charge at home. Let me move on. I told you this was going to be a comprehensive video. This is a reference video, right? What gas to get, right? So there's a lot of questioning. At least my little focus group here, there was a lot of questioning as to should you get high quality gas? Is there such a thing as high quality gas, or is all gas the same? I've always thought myself all gas was the same, but I'm sure there's gas snobs that would tell me, oh, all gas is different. You gotta get good quality gas. So anyways, confusing branding and marketing, right? What is Techron? What is all of these things, right? Should you get E85? Should you get ethanol free? It's confusing. Again, from my little focus group, where I'm at, every people is like crazy about ethanol free gas. Like in Texas, they all go to Buc-ee's because they want to get ethanol free gas. Like what's the difference? Does it make a difference for your car? Can your car actually take gas with ethanol? All of these questions is not as straightforward as just getting regular gas often. And that's, I think, from confusing marketing. And also, all electricity is the same, right? Electricity is the same. DC current is current. Gas doesn't work like that. So again, confusing, and that's the marketing issues. And inconvenience number 8, which again relates to the modern day of the 21st century and how business is usually done nowadays. And it is the issue that is just not a cherished experience. No one looks forward to getting gas, accompanied by a feeling of annoyance, right? This was my little focus group here. And it's true. This is true. I mean, I've never looked forward to getting gas, and I think few people look forward to getting gas. Of course, nobody would look forward to charging their car either, I don't think. But given that it literally takes 10 seconds once your car is in the garage, you just plug it in and you go in the house. I think charging is a superior experience and is an experience fit for the 21st century. So, in conclusion, and this is an opinion, but again, I want to outline it for my future videos, and I'll make a bunch of videos like that, outlining each point. Why do I say that gas stations are worse than charging at home? Well, it's an opinion. It's my humble opinion. But most customers will see charging and the overridden gas station as a net benefit. It's a net benefit because of the safety issues mostly that I've outlined. My point number 1 and number 2, physical safety and safety from explosive liquids, what gas is. That's number 1, and number 2, because of the more hedonic reasons, the lighter inconvenience issues that you avoid. I think over time customers will much prefer charging. Charging will be an experience that is much preferred than going to the gas station, and that almost becomes an afterthought. You just plug your car into the wall as soon as you get home, and that's it. And that's an afterthought. So it's really charging your car at home really diminishes, I think, a big pain point, the pain point of gas stations, which is a pain point that is not well understood right now by a lot of the traditional auto industry. A lot of the traditional auto industry does not understand this pain point, but it is a pain point, and electric cars solve that pain point. So having to charge your car is a major selling point for Teslas. It is a selling point, and it is not a drawback, contrary to what the bear argument is. Missing or avoiding the gas stations or not being able to the gas station is a plus. And that is one of the dozens of reasons why I am invested in Tesla, and I love Tesla both as a future customer and as a driver whenever I get to drive one, and as especially a shareholder for this channel. And I'm happy to buy Tesla stock. Not investment advice. None of this has been investment advice. This was just entertainment or edutainment. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and you can follow me on Twitter for the occasional thread at beatthedenominator is my handle. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.